Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we aren't talking about the flashy side of money.
No.
We're not talking about crypto moonshots or, how to 10x your portfolio by next Tuesday. We are stripping all the hype away. We're cutting through the noise to get down to the absolute bedrock of financial independence. We're talking about the specific mechanism that actually lets you sleep at night when the rest of the world is panicking.
It really is the foundation. I mean, if you don't get this right, the rest of the structure, all the investing, the compounding, the wealth building, it simply doesn't hold.
Right.
It's like building a penthouse on a foundation of sand.
So, for anyone just joining us, let's maybe orient ourselves. We are walking through the Golden Path strategy, and I want to emphasize this isn't just a collection of random money tips or like TikTok hacks.
Not at all. This is a comprehensive systems engineering approach to your financial life. It views your finances as a system. Inputs, outputs, feedback loops. It's designed to be fail-safe.
And that system comes from the mind of Tamir Kaham. And we need to pause and give credit where credit is due here, because his background really explains why this strategy feels so different.
It really does.
Tamir is the originator and, the architect of this whole 3-stage, 13-step strategy we're breaking down.
He's also the creator of the YouTube channel, The Golden Path to Financial Independence, where you can actually see these concepts visualized, which helps a lot.
But this is the credential that always stands out to me, and I think it's the secret sauce.
I know which one you're going to say.
Tamir is the official Hebrew translator of The Richest Man in Babylon.
That detail is so crucial. You really see that unique blend in his background throughout this entire strategy.
It's this fascinating mix. You have the cold precision of modern systems engineering combined with ancient wisdom that has stood the test of millennia. It's a powerful combination.
Think of it like building a modern skyscraper, earthquake-proof and wind-resistant, but using the structural geometry of the pyramids.
I love that.
It's designed to last thousands of years, not just until the next market crash. And just to be clear, this strategy is specifically for the salaried employee, the person moving from financial dependence to the identity of an asset owner.
Okay, let's check our map. We are in episode 6 of this deep dive. We are tackling step 7, which sits right in the middle of stage 2, building financial resilience. The topic today is the emergency fund, building your financial fortress.
And in the source material, Tamir uses a very specific metaphor for this step within the rocket launch analogy. We've talked about the launch pad in stage 1, but step 7 is the moment of stage separation.
I want to get into the rocket science of that in a minute because it's a brilliant way to look at savings.
It is.
But first, let's ground this in reality. The source material opens with a scenario called the 2 a.m. heartbeat test. And honestly, just reading it gave me a little bit of anxiety.
Good. It's supposed to. It cuts through the spreadsheets and gets to the emotional reality of money.
So I want you, the listener, to visualize this with us. It's 2:00 a.m. You are deep asleep. The house is silent. Suddenly, your phone rings. It's jarring. It's the call nobody wants. A medical emergency, a family crisis. Or, maybe it's not 2 a.m. Maybe it's Tuesday morning, and your boss calls you into that glass-walled conference room.
Ugh, that room.
The blinds are drawn, and they use that sterilized word, restructuring.
In that precise second, as you reach for the phone or hear that news, pay attention to your body. What is your physical reaction?
That's the test. Do you feel that cold, gripping panic in your chest? Does your stomach drop? Because, for a fact, there is no margin in your accounts. Or do you take a breath? Is your pulse steady? Do you feel a sense of calm confidence?
That is the difference between living on a financial tightrope without a net and standing on a fortress. Most people, if they're honest, are on the tightrope. They're living on hope.
And as we've said before, hope is a terrible financial strategy.
It really is. Optimism is a great life philosophy. It's wonderful to be optimistic about people, about the future, about your sports team, but it is a terrible strategy for your bank account. Murphy's Law dictates that if things can go wrong, they eventually will. And they usually happen at the worst possible time.
So the goal of this deep dive, and the goal of step 7, is to build the fortress that turns a potential catastrophe into just a manageable challenge.
We want to turn a disaster into an inconvenience.
Exactly. Now, let's bring in that rocket analogy, because this really explains why we need this fund before we start investing aggressively.
Yeah.
Why does Tamir call this stage separation?
Okay, so think about a massive rocket like the Saturn V or the SpaceX Starship. To get off the ground, it needs that gigantic, heavy booster stage at the bottom.
Right.
It burns a massive amount of fuel just to fight the initial gravity.
It does all the heavy lifting.
But here's the key, and this is what people miss about savings. The booster stage does not go to orbit.
Oh, that's interesting.
Its job is to take the hit to handle the gravity, and then it separates and falls away so the main mission, the payload, can continue ascending safely.
That image of the booster stage is sticking with me. Because when you watch a launch, that first stage is huge. It's loud. It's violent.
It's doing the hardest work in the universe, fighting gravity. And in your financial life, gravity isn't just a force. It's entropy. It's the transmission blowing on your car.
The HVAC system dying in July.
Exactly. It's the corporate merger that makes your job redundant. These things have massive weight.
And if you don't have that booster, the main ship has to burn its own fuel to survive.
The main ship, your retirement accounts, your long-term assets, isn't designed for that atmospheric drag. If you use your 401k to fix a transmission, you aren't just spending cash, you're cannibalizing the future to pay for the present.
Right.
The emergency fund is the booster. When a crisis hits, you burn the fuel in that emergency fund. The fund might get depleted, it gets left behind, but the rocket keeps going up.
That is such a critical shift in mindset. This money isn't extra savings. It's peace of mind in liquid form.
Yes.
It allows the asset owner to operate from a position of strength, not desperation.
Without stage separation, the rocket never escapes gravity. If you don't have this fund, when a crisis hits, you crash. You have to raid your investments or go into debt, and the mission fails.
Okay, so we're building a booster stage. We're building a fortress. But there have to be rules.
Right.
You can't just stuff cash under a mattress, and you can't just put it all in Bitcoin.
Absolutely not. The golden path gives us strict rules for this.
Okay.
3 rules, to be exact. And rule number 1 is the one that trips up the most smart people. Protection, not performance.
Oh, I hear this one all the time. But hold on. If I have, say, $15,000 sitting in a generic savings account, and inflation is running at 3 or 4%.
Yeah.
I am technically losing money every single day. That hurts. A lot of listeners are going to look at that and think, I'm being responsible, but I'm getting poorer.
Yeah.
Is the fortress worth that bleed?
It feels like a bleed, I know. But you have to look at the alternative. If that money is in the S&P 500 and we hit a recession, you might lose 20% in a month. Inflation taking 3% over a year is annoying. The market taking 20% right when you lose your job is catastrophic. The goal of the emergency fund is to beat chaos, not to beat the market.
So you're basically paying a stupid tax to inflation to avoid the catastrophe tax of the market.
Well, I wouldn't call it a stupid tax. Think of it more as an insurance premium.
Okay.
You pay your car insurance every month, right? Do you get an ROI on that? No. You pay it hoping you never use it.
Yeah.
The loss to inflation is the premium you pay for 100% stability.
That's a fair point. But the source material does offer a nuance here, right? For those who really hate seeing zero returns.
Right. Protection doesn't mean you have to earn zero. You can use high-yield savings accounts or HYSAs or money market funds. These often yield close to the inflation rate.
Okay.
But, and this is the big, but they must be immediately liquid.
Which brings us to the whole market correlation danger. Why shouldn't we put this fund in stocks?
Just ask yourself, when are you most likely to lose your job?
Probably during a recession.
And what happens to the stock market during a recession?
It usually tanks.
Exactly. So if your emergency fund is invested in the market and a recession hits, you lose your job and your safety net has simultaneously dropped by 30%.
Wow.
You would be forced to sell your assets at the absolute bottom of the market just to survive. That is the opposite of financial resilience.
Oof. Yeah, that's a nightmare scenario. Selling low because you have to eat. Okay, so rule number 1, protection over performance. Got it. What's rule number 2?
Rule number 2 is liquidity. The fund must be accessible within 24 to 48 hours.
So no real estate.
You can't sell a bathroom fast enough to pay a hospital bill. No locked crypto, no bonds that have maturity dates or you get penalized for early withdrawal.
It has to be cash, basically.
It must be ready for that 2 a.m. crisis.
Got it. And rule number 3?
Rule number 3 is separation. And this one is psychological. The fund must live in a completely separate account from your daily checking.
This is the mental accounting firewall, right?
It is. If that money is sitting in your checking account mixed in with your grocery money, you will spend it. You just will.
You will.
You'll see a high balance and think, oh, I can afford that new gadget.
The user experience of spending money is just too easy now. Apple Pay, one-click checkout.
That's why the emergency fund needs to be behind a firewall. You shouldn't see it when you log in to pay your electric bill. It needs to be out of sight, out of mind.
It's like breaking the glass in case of emergency. You shouldn't be able to just reach in and grab a handful for a pizza.
Precisely.
Okay, so we know the rules. Safe, liquid, separate. Now for the million-dollar question, or hopefully not $1 million, how much is enough? What is the target size for this fortress?
The target for step 7 is 3 months of survival expenses.
I want to double-click on that word survival. Because when people hear 3 months of expenses, they usually look at their current spending, lattes, subscriptions, dining out, and the number looks huge. It feels impossible.
That's the mistake. This is not 3 months of your comfortable lifestyle. This is 3 months of bare bones survival.
So how do we calculate that?
You go back to the conscious budget you built in step 4. You strip out Netflix. You strip out the gym membership. You strip out dining out.
All things that.
You keep only housing, groceries, not restaurants, but groceries, utilities, and minimum debt payments.
Can you walk us through a real example?
Sure. Let's say you earn $5,000 a month. That's your lifestyle. But if you stripped everything down to the absolute essentials roof, over your head, lights on, food on the table, you could survive on $3,000.
Okay.
Your target for the emergency fund is $9,000, not $15,000.
Makes it feel so much more achievable. I mean, $9,000 is a hill, $15,000 is a mountain.
And remember, this is just the first milestone. In later stages, you might grow it to 6 months or a year. But for step 7, 3 months of survival expenses is the target. That's a solid booster stage.
Now let's talk about the pitfalls, because even with good intentions, people fall into traps here. What's the biggest one?
Mistake number 1 is what I call the trap door, relying on credit cards as an emergency fund.
I've got a $20,000 limit, I'm good. I hear that a lot.
It's a disaster waiting to happen. A credit card isn't a safety net, it's a trap door. If you use debt to solve a crisis, you are making the crisis mathematically worse.
Right.
You are adding high interest to a disaster. You're digging the hole deeper while trying to climb out.
Okay, what about mistake number 2? The aggressive debt payer.
This one is counterintuitive. Some people want to pay off debt so badly that they throw every single dollar at their loans and have $0 in savings.
It feels responsible, though. Death to debt.
It feels responsible until your car breaks down. Because you have $0 saved, you have to use a credit card to fix the car. Now you're back in debt.
Oh, that cycle.
You end up in this cycle of pay off, borrow, pay off, borrow. You need the buffer, the emergency fund, before you attack the debt aggressively. It stops the cycle.
That makes total sense. Now, before we get to the weekly challenge, we need to define what an emergency actually is.
Yes.
Because I can easily convince myself that a sale on a 4K TV is an emergency. But it's 50% off? I'm losing money if I don't buy it.
That's called lifestyle creep, and it destroys the fortress. You need strict criteria.
Okay, give us the breakdown. Valid versus invalid.
Valid. Job loss. Medical crisis. Urgent home or car repair that's needed for safety or for your income.
Okay.
Invalid. Vacations, holidays, gifts, sales. I deserve a treat. If you raid the fortress for Christmas gifts, the fortress won't be standing when the transmission blows in January.
Tough love, but necessary. Okay, let's unpack the action plan. We want our listeners to actually build this. What is the weekly challenge?
We're breaking the inertia this week. Step 1, open a separate savings account immediately, like today.
And step 2?
Name it intentionally. Don't just call it savings account 2. Call it Financial Fortress or Freedom Fund or the Booster.
Names have power. It psychologically ring fences the money.
Exactly. Step 3, make the first deposit. Even if it is just $50, you need to prove to yourself that this account exists and has money in it.
It's about the habit, not the amount at first.
Step 4, automate it. Link it to your monthly transfers that we set up in step 6. And finally, step 5, do that math. Calculate your specific 3-month survival number so you know exactly where the finish line is.
Open, name, deposit, automate, calculate. Simple, but powerful steps.
And remember, you are shifting your identity. You are moving from the person who hopes nothing goes wrong to the person who is prepared for anything.
Before we wrap up this deep dive, we need to pause for a very important reminder.
Yes, we are sharing a framework here, but this content is for educational purposes only. There are no guarantees. The Golden Path strategy worked for Tamir Kaham, but your results will depend on your execution and your specific circumstances.
Right. We don't know your specific financial situation. You must evaluate your own circumstances and consult qualified professionals, accountants, advisors, lawyers, before making any big decisions.
You are the captain of your own ship. We're just providing the navigation charts.
So let's bring it all home. The emergency fund is your foundation. It's the stage separation that protects the mission.
It allows you to look at a crisis and say, I've got this.
You've built your financial fortress. In Episode 7, we move to Step 8, Debt Elimination Strategy. We'll cover the psychology of debt, prioritization frameworks, and why high-interest debt is your enemy on the path to financial independence.
That is going to be a crucial one. We'll talk about how to attack that debt now that we have our safety net in place.
If you want to see these concepts visually, you really need to check out the source material on YouTube. The channel is The Golden Path to Financial Independence.
And if you're searching for the handle, it is at symbol, capital Tamir, capital GOLD, capital PATH, at Tamir Goldpath.
A huge thank you to Tamir for this framework. And a huge thank you to you for listening.
Storms come, fortresses stand.
See you in Episode 7.